This is for the leaders, the visionaries, the hope bringers, kindness instigators. This is your place to get loved, poured into, activated, and inspired. Good morning. Welcome to Fireside Friday. Friday, June 6th. June 6th, June 26th. I was thinking about earlier how it's kind of a portal, right? We have that double June 6th, 26th, June 26th, 2026. Um, I don't know why I want to go back to June 6th. I guess I need to take a look at my notes. I don't know what that date means for me or maybe for one of you listening. Um, but welcome to Fireside. It's so good to be with you in this space. Um, I've been feeling all week like I've been getting these little pieces, like fractals of light, of hope. I feel like that's what today is all about is hope. And I was struck this morning with a little like vision of taking us through just a very small visualization um, back to wonder. And so if you're in a place where you can close your eyes and take a few deep breaths with me, that's where we're going to start today on the 26th of June. So if you can, where you are, and if you can't as you listen, that's okay. Just be present with what is. You can always come back to this. Just close your eyes and take a few deep breaths in through your nose and out through your mouth as it feels comfortable to you. And I'm going to do that as well. And as you're breathing, just notice if there's anywhere in your body that feels a little tight and try to just relax. You could do a body scan where you start at the top of your head and you move through and just see if there's anything that wants your loving witness and then some attention to move, whether it could be your jaw, if you're clenching, could be tight shoulders. Just let those fall and relax into where you find yourself. And as you sit and continue to take those breaths, I want to take you to a field. The sun has just set. There are wildflowers around you. You can still kind of see them in the afterglow of the sunset. And you find a really beautiful place to sit. You might be next to some water there too in this wide open meadow. You could be sitting next to a tree with your back up against it. But wherever you find yourself, maybe it's even on a blanket stretched out on your stomach. Maybe you're looking up at the stars as they start to come out and be more visible. You start to notice little fireflies around you, little glimmers of light and this afterglow. And as the darkness kind of starts to set in, what do you notice about what you see? that question comes forward again. What is asking to be witnessed by you right now in this moment? These little messengers of light in the darkness, these firefly friends, they want to know when you also remember noticing them for the first time. Or when did fireflies maybe come forward in a special way? I want you to visit that place in you, that spot where maybe there was a little more presence, play, and wonder, where you chased your friends in fields of fireflies. Or maybe that's a childhood you long for even now. Perhaps there is an invitation to create something that you've been yearning for, whether it's a memory or something it's time to cultivate for you, just for you, for wonderful, amazing, beautiful, incandescent you. Let those fireflies lead you to a home within yourself, a noticing within yourself, a hearth within you that brings you light and hope in the space that you find yourself today as you listen. To know too that if you are sitting in a place that feels dark, that you can probably find some fireflies beckoning you, calling to you, reminding you that there's always a little light in the darkness. There's always some wonder to be found if we have eyes to see it. What are you craving this morning, or whatever time of day that you may be listening to this? What are you craving in these moments? What is asking to be witnessed by you, illuminated with these firefly friends? May we never grow too old to see the fireflies. When you're ready, you can open your eyes and come back to wherever you are. And again, just keep taking those gentle breaths as they feel good to you, grounded in this moment. but I feel really led to continue coming back to those fireflies right now. For some of you, it feels like there's a heaviness and a desire for something to shift. And I feel like the reminder in this is to remember that we need darkness in order to see those fireflies. There is something being produced in the heaviness right now, and it won't stay with you, but trying to move through it or push past it, you're going to miss those fireflies. Maybe your body's asking you to rest more. You're not feeling as able-bodied, or you feel slowed down because of X, Y, or Z. Things just aren't kind of going the right way. Or, like me, maybe you've been having some friction at home. Maybe there's been some things that have gone on this week that you didn't plan for. And that's okay. Reminding you too that if you don't know the way through, a way will be made for you. There will be hope to be found in this, and a recognition too that some of the things that are going on in our lives also aren't about us. Sometimes they're for the people that we are in relationship with. When they are struggling or going through hard things, it is very common for all of us, most of us in this space listening as healers, as people who want to bring more love and light, to take things on with those that we love. I saw a quote this week that I thought was, I just don't remember who said it, but it was maybe like a Facebook post. And she said, "You can hold people inside their wounding, but you can't heal the wound for them." And I thought that that was really profoundly simple, yet hard at the same time. Sometimes it's really hard to let people have their lessons and for us to take our hands and go, this is for them, just as darkness or tough seasons or stretchiness has also been for us. And trying to circumvent or block that from happening isn't our work because as most of us know, we needed those seasons of compression or depression or grief, these things that we move through. And again, the darkness doesn't stay, but it is a different way of being, a different way of being held in some way. Sometimes, too, some of us also need some of that darkness to cushion or to help us push back from our lives, to break the patterns that we're inside of, so that we can see more or take stock of ways that our life maybe has been on autopilot. I know that that was the case for me and has been the case for me when I've had big, unexpected moments of loss where we lose that equilibrium that we found. And sometimes it reminds me of that. I never read the Eat, Pray, Love the book, but I love the movie where the the guru is basically telling her sometimes we need to be knocked off balance. What if balance isn't always the goal? Um, Sometimes we need to fall into love, to fall into care, compassion. Sometimes these seasons produce in us also the well, not willingness, but the beauty of being supported back. For many of you too, you are the support, the infrastructure, the person who's bringing all the water to the fire always. And sometimes it's also really, really important to let other people come and sit with us in those spaces too, to receive as well, to receive medicine from those that we love back. So wherever you find yourself, if it's on that side, because the other side of this, I feel like there is also a group of us that is yearning for more possibility and sitting in some of the wonder or being felt like they could connect back into that wonder in this space. And maybe you're being stretched both ways, learning how to hold the duality of that of yes, I feel possibility, and at the same time my circumstances don't really feel like things are possible, whatever that means with and for the season that you're inside of. But I really, again, think the reminder here is to return to that place of childlike wonder, of being able to be present with what is and finding those glimmers through it, finding those places where the light does come in because of it, where we're able to receive that support and be reminded that we are supported. Sometimes our valleys are also just invitations and initiations into a different kind of abundance when our rational brain doesn't see the numbers on the paper, but our spirit feels like, ooh, well, this is a little different. Maybe this is you arriving to a place that you asked to be inside of, but it looks different than how you thought it would land. Because there are places too, sometimes when we ask for abundance, um, where we may have things stripped from us to where we can see that abundance doesn't always mean a surplus of things or of money. Perhaps it's a surplus and abundance of love, of being held, of being provided for, of having those stretchy places to see how we are provided for. Um, and wherever you find yourself in that, and again, it could be a bit of all of the things, I just feel like I just kept seeing fireflies for us this week and hope. Um, and making sure too that you're continuing to nourish and nurture yourself in whatever you're facing, whatever you're dreaming about, whatever you're leaning into. For some of us too, it may feel like resources just aren't there for the things that we want to dream into existence. And I think the reminder there for us too is that everything that ever, well, not everything, but most things that have and do exist or are created, the resources weren't there where people could see them. It took one action after the next for things to fall into place, for an investor to come, for a partnership to form, for a collaboration to be there. It wasn't all just on your shoulders. Um, Maybe the lending was denied. Whatever the things are that you're holding, just a reminder too that there are so many different ways that we can see fireflies come into our life if we will have eyes to see them. Um, I'm going to move to our card. We've got this one is from Angels and Ancestors. I also did want to just throw a little plug for any of you who may be seeking or want your own deck. If you're developing more of your own process and journey with this week, Hay House, I haven't looked at the sale, but I've been getting emails. They have some sales going on for their decks. It's just HAY House. They're a publishing house. So if you have been desiring or wanting to create some of your own ways to connect and go deeper with yourself or explore that, they are having a sale this week. I think it ends today, but it may be worth checking out for you. I've ordered a lot of my decks through them. Okay, so today we have the White Witch. Be the light. Be the light. Message. Take the higher road and choose the light. Remove yourself from lower energy experiences. The White Witch card represents the maiden aspect of the triple goddess of paganism and modern Wicca. The maiden is a gentle, innocent, and pure aspect of the goddess, a loving soul who wants nothing but the best for the whole earth. Here she is joined by a horned owl, showing that she is willing to respect those with more wisdom and experience than she has, but she is also willing to trust what she feels to be right within. With this card, you are being reminded of the goodness within. No matter what is happening to you or around you, you have a choice. Choose not to be pulled into dramas, bickering, or energies that are just going to limit your joy. If you are surrounded by people who are hostile towards you or someone else, or you are in a negative situation, perhaps in your workplace, you are being invited to be the light. You're an incredible person who can really bring light. So how can you change the energy? How can you redirect the conversation to love? How can you protect yourself? How can you help the person that is being picked on? Or are you the one who is guilty of causing a drama? You will know the answers. Know also that you're being encouraged to shine the light you were born to share. I also heard a story this week, spot on, right, for us today. I heard a story this week as well, that I think I've heard it before, but it really struck a chord with me this week. And I think it's an indigenous story that grandmothers used to tell to children, to encourage us to take our role in our communities, seriously. And so it goes something like, there was a rainforest, and it was burning. Some fire had lit, so it was being ravished by fires. And there was a jaguar who was leaving to get away from that fire, and he noticed a hummingbird kept flying past him, going towards the flames and then coming back past him. And he didn't know what was going on. Like, what is this hummingbird doing? There's all these flames. Like, where could he possibly be going? Or she? And finally, he was like, "Hey, hummingbird, what are you doing?" And the hummingbird said, "Well, I'm taking water from the lake and taking it to the fire, to try and put it out." And he laughed. And he was like, "You're a hummingbird. Like, what difference does this make, for you to be carrying water towards this substantial fire?" And the hummingbird said, "I know that it's small, but the forest is my home. This is where I live. This is where my community is. And so I will try to do my part to end this fire." And I guess the story goes to the forest spirits were so moved by the courage and the hope and the light, that the hummingbird, even though it was small, was continuing to bring what it could, to relinquish the flames of his home. Um, and so they put the fire out. Um, and so I also, this reminds me too, I think there's a lot to be said about just being the light where we are. That's the invitation of the card. Remembering the light where we are too, if we're having trouble finding it or feeling like we're far from it, where can we find those glimmers? But just remembering that small acts, of kindness usually move the needle so much. It wakes us up, it stirs us. If someone smiles at you, holds the door open for you, these feel small, but they also feel like we are cared for, like we are loved. And for a person who feels loved, they go into the world and they do more of the same. And so in each and every interaction, in each and every moment that we are bringing our light, that we're bringing that kindness, that we're bringing that love, it makes a difference towards the fires that we see in our communities. Um, and if every person was bringing a little bit of water to the fire in the ways that they could, what would that look like? Because sometimes too, as visionaries, as people who want to see more, it can feel like we're climbing this mountain on fire and going, how on earth are we going to do this thing that we dream? But remembering too that the dream didn't just start with you, that you are here as part of the collective. We do this together. We move the needle together. It's never on just our shoulders. And anytime you're feeling that pressure, that's not meant for you either. I saw this quote this week too from Octavia Rahim. "The world doesn't need more burned out visionaries. It needs well-rested revolutionaries who move at the speed of wisdom." I love that. Who move at the speed of wisdom. And sometimes our wisdom does ask us to move quick. But I was having a conversation with someone this week that often I feel like that the natural world and way of things is really kind of slow. There is a slowness to that movement. Sure, we have raging rapids at different points. There are storms that churn things up. There are moments that ask us to burst, to push, to keep going, but reminding us too that burnout and productivity and all of those things that we have learned from patriarchy are not actually going to bring that wisdom forward that we are here to be, that often wisdom moves at a different pace. It needs different things as well. It needs moments and times to meditate, to be still with yourself, to remove also distractions. That don't really even deserve your energy. That's part of the card too. If you're feeling like you're in a swirl of some kind with work, with a relationship, like, is that for you? Do you need to be engaged in that? What is actually meant for you? What are you craving in this moment? What do you actually need? And also remembering that you don't have to do it all. That's not your role. It was never your role. It's not all on you. This is a collective effort. There is one little video I also wanted to share because I feel like it highlights also that hope of what happens when we do the thing that feels like it's pulling us or calling us um, in the moment. Let me see if I can pull this up. Just a second. And there's no sound with it, but it's worth checking out. This was from the World Cup this week or recently. And so they have these little boys standing with the players, and it's raining. And all of a sudden, one of the players takes off his windbreaker, the protecting him from the rain, because they're going to play in it anyway, too, right? And he puts it over the little boy in front of him's shoulders. And then from there, it moves on down the line where all of the other men start taking their coats off to put them on the boys in front of them. And again, I loved how simple and small this act was, but yet I think about the ripple effect of what happens now where we had other men seeing these men do that in the stadium in the um, surrounding. But I think about those little boys. Like I feel like that moment will stay with them, and it feels so small. But yet here are these players they look up to that they probably are aspiring to be, who lean over and give them a jacket to protect them from the rain. Very small, but so big to see that ripple out. Um, I also heard, I'm going to tell one just very small story and then we'll wrap it up for today. But I was visiting with a friend of mine this week, Sue. She's probably in her 80s or late 70s. And I walk her dog sometimes. And so I had gone to walk her dog and we were sitting at her kitchen table and she said, I don't know if I've told you this story. And I don't know what brought it up, but she said, once when I was taking care of my grandson, and she must have been staying with him or something, and she was like, all week long he had been begging me when I'd pick him up from school and take him to soccer practice. I think he was like in preschool. Um, please, Grammy, can we have McDonald's French fries? Please, can we have McDonald's French fries? And every day she said no because his parents really didn't want him having McDonald's. It was a treat, something that's very rare. And he continued to ask. Well, there was, I guess, the final day she was picking him up, and she just thought, I just really want to get him some French fries. And so she got him the small French fry, took about half out, and then put the other half um, in his car seat. So when she picked him up from his preschool and he got into the car, he saw the fries and he was so excited. He got to have some fries and she said, "Now, don't eat them all because you have to go to practice. And just, you don't want to get sick." And he said, "I won't eat them all, Grammy." And he said, "But they sure have cut down on how much they give you," which cracked me up. But then she went over to this cabinet and she pulled down this little clay. I actually have a picture of it. She pulled down this clay figure. Bear with me here because I took a little snap. Here she is. And it was this clay rendering of a box of McDonald's French fries that her grandson made for her years later, because even in that moment, in these moments, what felt so small, a small little pack of French fries, stayed with him. And I was so moved by that, and that picture too, of just these little small moments, like little fireflies that meet us in our life, that are just moments of that kindness, of that love. Um, and I just think it's really beautiful. What a beautiful, also, just again, it was so small. It stayed with him. It has stayed with him. She did receive a phone call from her son saying, "Mom, I've got a question for you." He's telling us you gave him French fries. You didn't do that, did you? And she said, "Well, he threw me under the bus, Clint." And so it came out in the end, but it's become this treasured story for them. So keep shining your light. Find those glimmers where you are. They're all around you always. Love is always pursuing you. It is always surrounding you and there in the darkness. And we keep bringing that forward each and every time we're willing to engage and bring our little water, our pack of fries, giving our coat. Um, Continue being that light and finding that light. I'll see you next week.